দরজাটা খুলে দিলে মনে হয় ভালো হবে, আর একটু মনে আসবে। দেখো এবার, দেখো তো বলো যাচ্ছে। এই তো 13 সেকেন্ড 14 সেকেন্ড কি দেখাচ্ছে? এই তো লাইভ 26 হয়ে গেছে। হ্যাঁ লাইভ क्या हेडफोन खुल देंगे?
बोलिए बोलिए कुछ बोलिए।
হ্যাঁ ভালো প্রশান্ত। হ্যাঁ দাদা সন্দীপন দা, শঙ্কর দা শুনতে পাচ্ছেন?
হ্যাঁ শুনতে পাচ্ছি।
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা, একটু লাইভটা দেখবেন, লাইভটা একটু লাইভটা চেক করুন।
হ্যাঁ লাইট তো স্ক্রিনে ঠিকই আছে।
ইউটিউব ইউটিউব ইউটিউব
এক মিনিট।
लाइव हो रहा है लेकिन लेट हो रहा है। लाइव हो रहा है लेकिन लेट हो रहा है।
হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে, লাইট ঠিক আছে। ওকে ওকে ডান। হ্যাঁ
তাহলে তো হচ্ছে আর কি, এটা স্লো চলছে।
आप यहाँ जो बोल रहे हैं
हाँ
वो मतलब वो 30-35 सेकंड बाद हो रहा है।
हाँ, यहाँ से जा रहा है विश्व भारती, विश्व भारती से जा रहा है आसाम यूनिवर्सिटी सिलचर।
হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে, লাইট তো যাচ্ছে।
है तो उसका बाद है तीनों क्या हो रहा है सेंट्रल, ईयर विच इज सेंट्रल, विश्व भारती भी सेंट्रल, उसका बाद जा रहा है वो
लाइव क्रिकेट मैच भी ऐसे होता है।
हाँ आसाम यूनिवर्सिटी
लाइव मैच भी ऐसा होता है, ये डिले हो रहा है, इसको लेटेंसी बोलते हैं। ये जो इसको लेटेंसी बोलते
और उसका बाद बांग्लादेश का बॉर्डर भी है, उसका बाद
हैं। एग्जैक्टली उसी पर्टिकुलर का लेटेंसी जो स्पीड होगी।
अच्छा नेटवर्क
आपको लगा है नहीं?
नेटवर्क फुल फील है अभी।
मतलब उससे है ना लैंड लैंड कनेक्ट है।
नहीं लैंड
Good evening, Dr. Handik. This is Sandipan Dhar.
तो मेरे रूम से कर लेते हो। हाँ पर मेरे में तो चल रहा है काम अच्छे से चल रहा है नेट। मेरे रूम से अच्छा चल रहा है नेट।
वाईफाई मिलता है?
वाईफाई नहीं, लैंड से कनेक्टेड अच्छा चल रहा है।
ठीक है चलो यार।
मैं तो बोल रहा था
हाँ हाँ बोला,
मेरे सिस्टम में बैठ जाइए।
बोला वही वो ना, इधर ऑफ है स्पीकर। हेलो हेलो
अभी सुनाई दे रहा है। हाँ
Dr. Shoaib Gibran হচ্ছে বিশ্ব দাদের স্টুডেন্ট। Shoaib, welcome. Good evening, Raghu.
গুগল মিটিং যেমন হয় সেরকম শুরু করে দাও, এটা অটোমেটিক একটু স্লো হবে এবং লাইভ হবে।
थोड़ा लेट में आ रहा है।
लेट में आ
डन।
क्या ऑडियो?
We are going to start the webinar very soon, within a couple of minutes. Just at dot at 7 we'll start the webinar. So please be patient to all the participants and also the respected speakers.
स्टूडियो এখানে শুনতে পাচ্ছেন তো?
শুনতে পাচ্ছ?
না, इसमें साउंड नहीं आ रहा है। वो तो यूट्यूब। हाँ, इसमें हम पहले सुन गए, इसमें हम पहले सुन गए, इसमें हम पहले सुन गए।
ইউটিউবে লেট
ইউটিউবে লেট আসছে।
हाँ हाँ। মাইক অফ করো, লাইভ আসছে, কি লিখছিল, আমাদের কথা শুনতে পেরেছে, এখন শুনতে পাচ্ছে না।
क्या कैसे सुनाई दे रहा है? बंद है वहाँ से।
কোথায় চালু আছে? ঠিক আছে।
आप हेडफोन निकाल दीजिए। ऐसे कैसे सकता है? सिस्टम का साउंड ऑफ कर दिया, माइक ऑफ कर दिया, कहाँ से कर दिया? क्या इनको बोला?
সবই তো থেমে গেল, আর লোকজন কোথায় গেল? অর্পিতা, বিভাস, শহীদ, মানস, রঘুনাথ, রাজীব, হরিপ্রকাশ, শঙ্কর, সনি, তীর্থঙ্কর। পিন করবো যেন কি করে? না না, স্ক্রিনটা বড় করে দেবো, স্পিকারে পিন যেন কি করে করে সেটা। পিন করে দেবো। আচ্ছা আচ্ছা, ঠিক আছে। अच्छा, कहाँ से जा रहे हैं ये? ওয়েলকাম ডক্টর মেহবুব আলম।
Just within a short while, we are going to start the webinar. Please be patient. I welcome all the dignitaries present over here. Dr. Swayam Gibran, Dr. Rajiv Hande, Raghu Menon, TP Raghu Menon from Pondicherry. Other speakers will be joining us. Dr. Manoj Boyko, Dr. Rita Modok, the Secretary of the BOLPUR Club, as well as also the speaker of our today's webinar, our DRR, District Rotary Representative, Pona and others. Our District Literacy Chair is going to join within a short while and immediately we'll start our program. We also have our Literacy Chair. Good evening, good evening. We also have.
Thank you, sir, and a very good evening to all of you.
We also have the literacy chair of our club, Rotary Club of Hailakandi, Rotary and Indonesian Chakraborty. Also, we have the past president as well as the presently the district co-chair of public image, tradition and media of Northeast, Rotarian Shankar Chaudhary, who is also, I call him as a mentor of mine in the Rotary Club.
Sanjay Buddha, just 1 minute left, I think. Now, 6:59.
Yes. Dr. Siddhartha Dev Mukhopadhyay, the district literacy chair, is going to join. So as soon as he joins, we'll start. I think. On behalf of the Rotary Club of Hailakandi as well as on behalf of the President of the Rotary Club of BOLPUR, SANTINIKETAN, today we are here for the webinar titled Literacy for Contemporary World in view of NEP 2020. September is a month for literacy and basic education in the calendar of Rotary International. So first I will request this entire webinar will be moderated as a moderator. Me along with Shankar Chaudhary, Rotarian Shankar Chaudhary will be handling. First, I will request Rotarian Shankar Chaudhary to give a brief about the work areas of Rotary International and how it has been formed. Shankar, the mic is yours.
Okay, good evening everyone. Actually, I'm still in my office. However, I on behalf of Rotary Club of Hailakandi, as a past president of Rotary Club of Hailakandi, I welcome all the dignitaries. Those are virtually with us in air. However, as a Rotary is a very old organization, and it was from 1905. After that, Rotary is doing, especially in the field of that is health, hunger, uh, child, and especially in health sector, and above all now we are working on literacy. This is the month of literacy month in our Rotary International calendar. September is literacy month. This is first time that type of program the RC Hailakandi are going to organize, and we are very much thankful to the president, our co-host, that is BOLPUR SANTINIKETAN, and all the dignitaries and all the my dear respected guest speaker. I'm still in the office. I'm very much sorry. I'm requesting our very own and a very knowledgeable Rotarian of our district, and he is Rotarian Dr. Sandipan Dhar. I'm requesting Sandipan to kindly continue this program, and I'm joining in time to time. Sandipan, kindly help me because I'm in a meeting now, so I'm just
Yes.
out from the meeting room.
Thank you, Shankar. Actually, Hailakandi is going to celebrate its district day on 2nd of October. So I know Rotarian Shankar Chaudhary is very busy with that. Now I will request our literacy chair, who is a well-known teacher in the district, Rotarian Indranil Chakraborty, to give the welcome address. Indranil, the microphone is yours.
Thank you, Sandeepanda, and good evening to everyone who have attended this webinar. First, as Sandeepanda has taken the initiative of introducing me, still I want to repeat my name once again. I am Indranil Chakraborty, a Rotarian of Hailakandi Rotary Club. Today on this webinar, that is Literacy for Contemporary World, in order to give my welcome address, at first I would like to throw light on the different areas which Rotary thinks are essential for the development of the society. So I would like to add that Rotary basically tries to work in promoting peace for the world. Along with this, it also puts in a great effort to fight diseases. Rotary also tries to provide clean water, sanitation, and hygiene. Above all, Rotary also gives its attention for maternal and children health. Supporting education is one of the prime concern of Rotary International. Along with all these areas, growing local economies, then protecting the environment are also some important areas where Rotary tries to work. Now, as our fellow Rotarian Shankarda has already said that September is the basic literacy month observed by Rotary International, and along with Rotary International in India also, all the Rotary clubs, we try to do projects that will ensure basic literacy, that will try to increase the basic literacy level in India also. Now, the Indian wing of Rotary International have different projects like educating teachers, happy schools. One of the most important project of Rotary International, Rotary India, is the TEACH program. Now, TEACH program is teacher education, e-learning, adult literacy, and child development. So these are the things that is which are included in the TEACH program. When we think of basic literacy, this is my personal opinion, I could say that I think we have, to some extent, we have achieved basic a even if it is not satisfactory, but it is not very unsatisfactory also in India. Now, a time has come that beyond the basic literacy level, there are different types of literacy which I think needs to be addressed, which is the call of the hour. People in our country are very much unaware about digital literacy, science and technology literacy, then ecological literacy, financial literacy, heritage literacy, and gender literacy. These are some areas which I personally also think that need to be addressed. So today, along with Bolpur, Rotary Club of Bolpur, Shantiniketan, Rotary Club of Hailakandi has taken the initiative of conducting this webinar, and I am very much hopeful that it will help us to have a better perspective of the different forms of literacy. We will have a better understanding from the speeches of our distinguished speakers, and it will help us to work for the society in a better way. So, in order to start this webinar, as the district, as the literacy chair of Rotary Club of Hailakandi, I would like to welcome all our speakers. As I can see, many of our distinguished speakers have not joined yet. Maybe they are having some personal issues. But I would like to welcome all those respected speakers who are already here, and at the same time, I would welcome them. I would welcome those speakers who will join very soon in through this platform. So, at the outset, I am very much happy to welcome Dr. Swed Girban, who is the professor of School of Education, Bangladesh Open University, Gazipur. So the participation of Girban sir, I must say, has added an international angle to this webinar. I am very much thankful to Girban sir. Then we have with us, I'm not sure if he is online, Dr. Rajiv Handik, Professor of Department of History, Guwahati University. He then we have Dr. Manoj Kumar Boido, Principal of Malda College, English Bazar, Malda. I welcome him on behalf of Rotary Club of Hailakandi and our co-host, Rotary Club of Bolpur, Santiniketan. We have another distinguished speaker, Dr. Mr. T.R. Raghu Menon, Director of Aurobindo Society, Puducherry. A very warm greetings to T.R. Menon, Raghu Menon sir as well. We have in list our another respected speaker, Dr. Joydeep Barua, who is the Director of Assam Science, Technology and Environment Council. He is also from Guwahati. We are very happy to welcome Rotarian Kanaya Sharda. He is very much our own club member. That is, he is the immediate past president of Rotary Club of Hailakandi. He is also the independent director of Steel Authority of India Limited. My warm welcome to Mr. Jayanta Sharma, who is the Senior Program Associate of Natural Resource Management Program of RNF, a very well-known social and cultural and educational organization of India. Then we have with us Rotary and Dr. Rita Modak, Secretary. She is also the Secretary of Rotary Club of Bolpur. As we all know, Rotary Club of Bolpur, Santiniketan is co-hosting this webinar. So my warm greetings to Rotary and Dr. Rita Modak, Madam as well. Finally, Rotarian Dr. Siddhartha D. Mukhopadhyay, who is the, thank you sir, he is the professor of Department of Agricultural Extension of Vishwa Bharati Shantiniketan, and I am very happy to inform all participants that he is also the literacy chair of Rotary District 3240. So we are very much happy to have them as distinguished speakers of this webinar. Along with them, I also welcome all the participants who are in different professions of life, but today finding it important, they thought to join this webinar. My heartfelt thanks to all of them, and I am sure that this webinar will be one of its kind. It will be very interesting, and we will have many things to learn. I would also like to inform every participant that if you find that you have any question or answer during the program, you can also put it in this platform, and we will try to address these questions and answers to our respected speakers. So I don't want to prolong my conversation here. I am very much interested to look forward to the discussions that are going to take place. So I request Rotarian Shandipan Dhar of Rotary Club of Hailakandi to go ahead with the next process. Thank you very much. I will be staying with you all throughout this webinar. Again, my respect to all. Thank you. Shandipanda, hello, Rotarian Shandipanda, can you hear me?
Thank you, Indranil, Rotary Indranil Chakraborty. But before we proceed for main session, we have the president of the BOLPUR Club, BOLPUR Shantiniketan Club, present with us, Rotarian Babul Shingo. So I will request him just in a brief to tell something about this today's webinar. Rotarian Babul Shingo. I think yes, there's problem. Anyway, we'll go to our main program. The first is about the introduction about our theme. It is the speaker is Dr. Sohaib Gibran. He is a poet and a writer, well-known writer and a poet in Bangladesh. Apart from writing, his keen interest is in the field of education. He was an educational consultant for UNICEF from Bangladesh for quite a long time. And currently he is a professor in the School of Education, Bangladesh Open University. His PhD works was on Amol Kumar Mohinder. So, Sohaib Gibran, now the microphone is yours, sir.
Thank you, Shandipan. I am from Sylhet, very near to Hailakandi as well. Good evening to everyone connected to in today's webinar. I feel honored to be associated with you. Honorable all, the greatest invention in the history of mankind was the invention of language. It is this discovery that separates humans from other animals and give them superiority. Because through the discovery of this language, people are able to transfer their knowledge from one generation to another. As a result, the struggle of survival goes a long way. They are able to use the knowledge to many eras in this struggle. To do this, they mainly use written method, writing method. This writing system developed through script. The ability to use this writing system has also created important dividing among people even today. They are even marked separately. Those who are able to use this writing system are separated as literate, and those who cannot are so-called illiterate. Literate people are considered more qualified than illiterate people. Literacy literally means being able to read and write. According to the last definition of UNESCO, understood as a means of identification, understanding, interpretation, creation and communication in the increasingly digital text-mediated information-rich, fast-changing world. This year, theme of World Literacy Day is promoting literacy for the world in transition, building the foundation of sustainable and peaceful societies. The theme of literacy has been set with achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Literacy for a sustainable, inclusive, and peaceful world. It is worth noting that the word of transition, sustainable, and peaceful societies have been used in this year's slogan. These words are very important. Our today's our theme for today is literacy for contemporary world. The present world is going through a very critical period. One country is attacking another country, one nation is attacking another nation, and one tribe is attacking another tribe, and one caste is attacking another caste without any reasonable reason. People of one religion or other religion, people who have lived in an area of 100 years are suddenly displaced and threatened with displacement. This situation is even more accurately true for the Indian subcontinent. India was divided in 1945 in the basis of religious communalism and the communalism spirit created by the British colonials. Now the colonial conflicts within those parts of the world as well. Incidents of burning down the villages for apparently keeping books of another religion in the mandir, for killing people, for education has kept deep connection and responsibility with these events. There are different level of education. It's very initial level is literacy. Again, there are different level of illiteracy. At all levels, one of the catastrophe of the present world needs to be taken into account. Technological advancements are taking places in the changing reality of the world. Environmental changes are also taking place. In this webinar organized today on literacy, various topics will be discussed keeping those issues in mind. International national situation of literacy will be discussed, literacy and functional literacy, digital literacy, science and technology literacy, ecological literacy, financial literacy, gender literacy, heritage literacy will be discussed. Through this discussion will be mutually beneficial. Understanding between ourselves will be increased in institutional and non-institutional ways. Once Thakur says, I am a Hindu, I am a Muslim, and my ears become prickly, but I don't hear anyone saying I am human. Those who are not human, are the Hindu or Muslim, will not benefit the world. We have to realize that we are the part of nature. We are children of this soil. We will return this soil again. Finished with Panchabhut.
As our RI President of 2023-24, Rotary and Modern actively create hope in the world. Hope, we will create a hope this webinar. So next, if by the meantime, if any of the participants during the presentation has any question, they can put it in the chat box so that during the question and answer session, we can raise those questions to our respected speakers. The next is the literacy scenario, global and national. The speaker is a well-known person, professor in the Department of History, Guwahati University, Assam, India. Before this, he served as an associate department of history and even as the deputy registrar academic for more than 9 years. Presently, he is also the member of the Assam Staff Training Institute. We are very lucky to have him because today he had a long travel of almost 40 kilometers. And Dr. Andy sir for accepting our. So now it is Dr. Rajiv Andy sir.
Thank you, Sandipan, and I'm really very grateful to all Rotarians, especially of the Rotary Club BOLPUR SANTINIKETAN for this literacy audible.
Yes, you are audible, sir.
So it's I don't know this to my home. Actually, today's program had to be shifted to tomorrow because of some very unfortunate incident. We lost one of our students of third semester, who also happened to be from the same district where Mayong is located. We lost him because of his. You are doctors, you will understand. He had a very bad disease. He suffered from leukemia. I think which is called. I think you call it AML, acute myeloid leukemia. So it's a day for bereavement, and we lost him, and his funeral was over just by noon today. But actually, one thing has been, he belongs to a very poor family of this Morigaon district, and he has been suffering from quite a long time. Application for his absence on medical ground. And only after inquiry I could see that his blood profile was not good. My father was a doctor, so I also had AML patient in my family, one of them who passed away. So I could actually relate, and I told him that he should not lose time and go for treatment. The treatment started, but it was too late. Maybe at the beginning, had he been diagnosed, perhaps it would have been better. But the question that struck me, and by the concept note which I have been going through, which has been very so nicely prepared by you, by the organizers, where you have said that literacy is the ability to identify, understand, interpret, create, communicate, and compute using printed information, and then you have added the liberates goes beyond reading, writing, and numeracy. So I was thinking actually whether people to what extent was he literate, because he was a product of also the COVID generation, because they had to undergo that those years where education was even exams were held mostly through into the internet. So I was sort of thinking why did he not check his symptoms, putting it in the Google. That's not the right thing to do. But then, was he careful enough about his health? Was he actually conscious about his because he was already a graduate, because he was a postgraduate student. So I'm of literacy, frankly, because I have been in the higher education scenario for the last 30 years, and what I have found, but there are many cases, there are many students, when we do their remedial classes, we feel that perhaps this lacuna that they have, some of them actually go back to their primary stage. Some of them go back to the primary stage, some of them perhaps should have been corrected there itself. So we have been having literate, so to say literate students, but may not fit into the, and health is one part of that. Our literacy have not adequately included. So and in India, literacy has had a very limited connotation by its very definition. And literacy, we always look up to the census as to which census gave us what type of percentage of literate in our country. So, answers. A person aged 7 and above who can both read and write with understanding in any language is treated. So, a literate person should be able to read and write. A person who can only read but cannot write is not literate. And in the census prior to 1991, children below 5 years of age were necessarily treated as illiterates. Even they may be literates by definition, but they were considered to be illiterates. And I am not going into the details of our 11, and we didn't have the census after that, but some saying that we have crossed 84%. One of knowledge, skill, attitude, which are required in every stage of education in different forms, are questionable. So maybe we are doing well in terms of quantity, because if it is 84 plus, it's quite good. But quality parameters, I think, needs more importance, more improvement. And it's a welcome change that the National Education Policy 2020 has taken some commendable steps in the way of young numeracy. And we all, perhaps many of you will be knowing that the government has launched something called the Nipun India, that is National Initiative for Proficiency in Reading with Understanding and Numeracy. Nipun India. So it is not only reading and writing and numeracy, it's proficiency in reading with understanding. Understanding is a very important word in there. And basically what it all comes up to is, taking the capabilities approach, so very well articulated by Amartya Sen. So even at the literacy level, the aim should be for developing the capabilities. And I think you all know that the capability theory approach, it's a theoretical framework actually that involves mainly two core claims. Number one is the assumption that the freedom to achieve well-being is of primary moral importance. So that freedom to achieve the well-being. And second, the freedom to achieve well-being must be understood in terms of people with capabilities. So therein the capabilities come up. So with the help of NIPUM, with the help of this National Education Policy 2020, it has been ambitious that every child by 2026-27, by the age of 11, or by the they reach class 3, they should be able to develop the ability to read with meaning. They should have a clear sense of numbers. Numeracy should at least go up to 3 digits, at least to 100. And then they should be able to write and learn the basic life skills, including that of health and other things. So this foundational literacy incorporates oral language development, so they should be able to speak properly, they should be able to read properly loudly, they should be able to decoding the sounds and the symbols. So this is one part of the objective of NEP. Then, as I said already, reading fluency must be there, because if one doesn't read properly, that means the understanding will also be flawed, as well as the writing will be flawed. And then comprehension. It's not only reading with comprehension, understanding what has been read, and then writing, that is creating. So these are things which have been made a part of the foundational literacy program. So, and the foundational numeracy, as has been said, it includes numbers, but it also includes shapes and spatial measurement. So, a student must be able to know about this space, they must know about the shapes, and they must also be able to handle data. data maybe not in the same in practically they have to understand. So it is. I think it's a shift away. NEP is a shift away from rote learning as we have been doing to uh, the learning outcome based learning. So today the entire National Education Policy 2020 is based on the parameters of outcomes, learning outcomes. So it's outcome based education. So we have actually put the product before the process, during the process. So we want our children to be like this, to be literate like this. So the processes has to be adequately designed, changed, modified for that purpose. So if a student under this foundation literacy part that we are having in the as part of NEP, if they successfully complete it, they will be motivated, they will be to some extent independent, they will be engaged, in learning without someone telling them to do so. So they will be able to comprehend, they will be able to write. So there are also developmental goals which are included, or you can say, in a way, incorporated into it. Children should have good health and well-being. They should be effective communicators. So these are all there in the National Education Policy 2020. Is my time over actually? I maybe I'm getting carried away. Sandeepan, please.
Yeah, you can continue, sir. You can continue.
Okay. Please tell me when to stop. Or I will stop. Yeah, I don't have much to say in any. So the point is, the topic which was assigned to me also includes something, the global perspective. So this is what we are doing in India. This is what we think NEP, how NEP will lead the way or give us the opportunity to transform the education system at the primary level, to give literacy a totally new meaning and a totally new sort of transformative edge to our entire education system. And assessment wise also there will be a lot of changes in the at the literacy level. There will be school based assessment, but there will be also large scale standardized assessment, and there will also be self assessment, which is included. It has not been implemented as well. It's in the process. Hopefully it will be very interesting to see how students assess themselves. Internationally, actually our position, India's position, so to say, is not very good. The last time we had we don't have too many international surveys. The last one that we have was the PISA survey, the program for international students, the PISA survey, which took place in 2009. And that is actually done, it is administered by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, so OECD. So the point is we need to volunteer for this assessment, and India did volunteer in 2009. One thing must be noted, that the entire country is not, so to say, assessed. The assessment takes place only in those areas where the government says that assessment can be done here. So the areas which are marked out for 2009 was in Tamil Nadu and Himachal Pradesh. Perhaps in Tamil Nadu is quite good in education. Himachal also has quite a lot of good schools. Perhaps that was the reason. But the results were actually too bad, I should say. We got the 73rd position out of 74. So that PISA survey was really very bad, and we came out of the process. And in 2021, there was again the talk of going for the survey, but as of there was COVID, and then in 2022 it was supposed to be done, but as far as I know, there has not been any PISA survey till now. There has been other surveys also, and this, as you, the only country, I think the country that was the last was Kyrgyzstan. We were just above Kyrgyzstan. There were all the other countries, 73rd position out of 74 countries. We were only above Kyrgyzstan. I saw that survey, and countries like Korea, China, they really were doing very good. Not to say of the Nordic countries like Finland and others. And UK, USA were not at the top. They were, something around in the 18th or 19th position, and USA was in the 20s. But in any case, they were much above, India. Then I tried to see actually what was going on, because NEP, the higher education, as far as higher education is concerned, we are following now the 4-year undergraduate course and the credit system, outcome-based education, which are all actually being in a way not copied, I should say, taken from USA. It's a USA model. So I tried to see actually what is going on in the USA. In USA, what we find is the school curriculum, for the last century, you can say, till from the late 19th to the 20th century, most part of it, they tried to accomplish 3 things. Number 1 was the 3 R's, we all know. That is the reading, writing, and arithmetic. This is how they were actually. It is a sort of not algorithm, but we all know 3 R's means reading, writing, and arithmetic. Then there was reverence for 4 A's. The 4 A's were American history, American technology, the American free enterprise system, which is very important. That means entrepreneurial education starts from there on. American free enterprise system and American democracy. So they train at the school level about American democracy, their enterprise system, their technology, and American history. And also there is a third objective, that is the school system is promote shifting mechanism, or you can say a separator, indicating the careers which will be good for the students. So there is also separation that takes place. Their aptitude, their talents are tapped into, and they are put into careers which will best suit their aptitudes. So that is the situation, and they had, like in Europe and in UK, neighborhood school concept. Children normally goes to these neighborhood schools. They don't go, traveling for a very long period of time to long distance schools. They go to neighborhood schools. Most of the neighborhood schools are good. They are publicly funded. We think US is very capitalist or UK is capitalist, and one thing in terms of health and education, Nordic countries, UK, USA, they have, the public, funding, or the government funding in health and education is very high, pretty high. So, and they have very homogeneous type of government funded schools. They have the same facilities, very good teachers, well-trained teachers, and it is like that. So we cannot compare ourselves with a situation like that. Challenges in India are huge. We have a very good person in our panel, Jayanta Sharma, who has been into these very remote areas where he knows the heterogeneity in terms of the physical facilities, in terms of the situation, the locational, the conjunctures, as I have mentioned in my note, which are very different in India. So how to give them a homogenized education is the biggest challenge. And another challenge is also of the government funding. The NEP says that 6% of the GDP should be invested in education. That has not happened. That has not been happening for a very, very long period of time. It doesn't go above 3%. So these are the challenges before us. We need the soft skills, as our first speaker said, about the understanding the differences, promoting multiculturalism, respecting for others, celebrating diversity. These soft skills must be there in our literacy program. The children should be uh, amongst us, and they have to be given the skill to the diversity, to accept the diversity, to respect the diversity, and maybe to celebrate the diversity, which as a Rotary Peace scholar I have learned, and which is the way to peace actually. So along with digital literacy, ecological literacy, and things like that, I think we need a lot more things in India. Because we are very heterogeneous, so we need to maybe put in something more to make our education system, our literacy more robust in days to come. With this work, I thank the organizers, all of you, and the fellow panelists for your patient hearing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Rajiv Henrik, for this beautiful presentation. I hope this will set our entire waste much of time. Any of the participants have any question, put it in the chat. Put a question on political literacy. We have a well-known person, Dr. Manashmo Poldo, is presently serving as the Malda College, which is the mango capital of West Bengal. Basically, he obtained his MCom degree from the University of Calcutta with first in the year 1997. He was awarded with Certificate of Excellence by Goenka College of Commerce and Business Administration, Kolkata, and a National Scholarship for his performance in BCom examination. So now I will request Mr. Manashma Poldo to deliver his presentation. Basically, this is very near to my home, the place where I studied, Goenka College. So, sir, the time is yours.
Thank you. Good evening to everyone. First of all, I convey my sincere thanks to the Rotarians, particularly Rotarian Club BOLPUR SANTINIKETAN, who has given the opportunity to share my views on literacy and contemporary world. Basically, I would like to share my presentation. Am I audible? Once again,
yes, sir, you are audible. You are audible.
Once again, I would like to share my screen. My screen is my screen is visible. Hello?
No sir, no sir, no sir, no sir. Retype.
So I think the concept of class, that is flipped class, defining the future higher education in India. And we're going to the regarding the new education policy, and then I will talk about certain areas, the technology and education, and finally my main topic, that is concept of flipped class, which may define the future of higher education in India. As you know, the new education policy approved on 29th July 2020, and it was the greatest reform in the education platform after 36 years. Really, it is a very major and unprecedented steps taken by the government. The main purpose, I have pointed out here 2 points. One, new education policy to bring about significant reforms in Indian education system. And the second one, new education policy aims to increase the gross enrollment ratio in higher education from 26% to 50%. It is a really major challenge. I think I will like to say something about this particular point. There are so many other objectives, but I here point out the two objectives. New education policy as a reform measures in the education sector of India from school level to higher education. And the new education policy aims to increase the gross enrollment ratio from 26% to 50% by 2035. So now I would like to highlight certain features or silent features. I will not mention, I will not explain one by one. Please go through. The flexibility, that is, it is more student centric. That is, new education policy suggests to customize the education as per the needs of the students. But so far as the implementation is too much difficult, still it is a major point of the new education policy, and some others multidisciplinary approach, skill enhancing approach, and technology application. It is a major step of new education policy. And one point is very important, that is, there is a scope of multiple entry and multiple exit. So the students can entry in any time, even he can exist in any time as he chooses. So that is a very important challenge to implement in the existing education system. And students, the completion of 1 year in college, and he get diploma up to degree after 3 years, and after 4 years, the students will get the honors degree. And the new education policy recommends certain limited regulatory framework rather than UGC, ICT, NAC. There are only 4 regulatory framework as specified in the new can one point is important. And get the final UG degree from each in the field of higher education. One is teaching universities, and third one is autonomous UG granting degree college. These are the 3 major types of higher education institutions under new education policy. However, I would like to point out certain challenges, rather from the point of view of critic. And there is the objective of new education policy to increase the enrollment ratio from 26% to 50% by 2035. To fulfill this objective, it is required new next 50 years. Would you understand? To fulfill this doubling the gross enrollment, it is required to open 2 universities every week for the next 15 years. And there is a requirement of huge funding, more or less 2.5 lakh crores per year. The policy emphasizes the skill development, which requires trained teachers. So in order to fulfill the new education policy, there is a huge recruitment of trained faculties. I think the existing education system, the faculties are not well trained. They are not habituated with the technology, education deliberation through the use of technology tools. So that is also an important challenge. So there is a lack of digital connectivity. So I do not know whether the rural India, with the digital connectivity, the new education policy will serve the purpose of the rural people. I am not sure. Particularly the rural area is facing this problem, financial issues. Many parents in rural areas tend to view education as an expense rather than as an investment due to merger incomes. This mindset often leads to low rates of enrollment and higher dropout ratio. lack of guidance, and lack of infrastructure, gender inequality. There are so many other social issues. So, still, it is high time for the education sector reform. I would like to point out in the year 1991 there was a economic reform. In 1999 there was a banking sector reform. In 2000 insurance sector reform. In 2015 there is the indirect tax reform with the introduction of 100% online GST. So it is the time for the reform of the education sector, CBC syllabus and new education policy 2020. However, my point is, with the introduction of the new education policy, particularly the public sector, government sector institution, higher education is facing more challenges because of entry of the foreign university, more private participation in higher education based on advanced ICT and innovations, online degree courses in market-driven demanding subjects already introduced by the different IITs. I do not know the like a various university government-aided colleges how they improve this particular area, particularly the ICT infrastructure and trained faculties. I do not know. Still, in order to still, I think in order to compete by the government sectors, I suggest some immediate measures to be taken by the government. Recruitment of sufficient trained faculties in the government sector education, professional and career-oriented curriculum development is needed. Though you know the CBCS is already introduced, but the curriculum is basically segregated into the various semesters, not focusing on the professional approach, not focusing on the career-oriented approach. The written in the documents, but in practical, the same syllabus, same content, only the difference is the segregated in the different semester and the semester end examination. So there is no studying knowledge. Rather, we are basically supplying the information in the classroom. I will come the concept of flipping classes. So with this, I would like to share other points regarding the technology and education. The education is taking a new shape with the pace of education keeps changing from traditional class to smart class, from smart class to virtual classes, and finally we are now online classes through apps staying at anywhere anytime basis. But remember, technology alone cannot improve education, but it can be a part of solution. Remember this point, technology alone cannot improve education. With this, I will come to my main area, that is the concept of flipped class, which may define the future of higher education in India. So before going to that, I will explain the existing traditional teaching practices in India. Here I have presented the three phases of classes. One class, 70 to 80% of the classes covered for delivering content in the existing traditional system. Only 15 to 20% the teachers spend for knowledge imparting in the class, and not more than 10% of the class time is utilized for the evaluation purposes. Even in the existing system, though the CBC is introduced, NEP is coming, even the existing system is totally note-based, stereotype, question-based. Content sharing will make teachers' job more difficult and have to spend more time in classroom for content sharing. But we have to remember, teaching is much more than good content delivery. Now I come to my next area, that is the concept of flipped class. Flipped class is the concept of blending learning. That is the combination of online and offline classes. So a flipped classroom is a type of blended learning where students are introduced to content at home and practice working through it at the institution in face to face. just opposite of traditional system. In the concept of flipped classroom, the students will be introduced to the content at home, practice working through it at the institution in face-to-face mode. So we have to change our attitudes. Content sharing is nothing a problem. We can easily use so many free technology tools, YouTube and personal website, etc. Through the technology, we can share our content before the classroom. Students can go through the content before the classroom. Whatever the question they arise, they can clear in the classroom. So knowledge imparting will be more important rather than sharing the content. So flipped class may remove these barriers. Concept of education again here. So what are the advantages? Again I like to explain this concept of before class sharing the content using the technology platform. During the class, doubt clearing, application, analyzing, practicing in offline mode. And after the class, and creation in face-to-face methods. So this is a concept of flipped class, that is the opposite of traditional class system. So why I am recommending the concept of flipped class? There are so many advantages. Flipped, it means flexible environment, learning culture, international content, and professional education. Again, I will point out certain advantages. Flipping speaks the language of today's students. Flipping helps busy students also. Flipping helps students of all abilities to excel. The students can have content by recording the video materials before the classes, so there is a ample chance to work the content. Yes. Flipping increases the student-teacher interaction. Flipping allows teachers to know their students better. Flipping increases student-student interaction. Flipping makes your class transparent. Flipping changes the way we talk to parents. Flipping educates parents. Flipping is a great technique for absent teachers and absent students also. Advantages of online education we have already mentioned. The most relevant advantage of online mode offers is the super flexibility on timing and delivery. So our challenge is coming the online educations. In case of online education, the faculty requirement will not be much more than in the existing offline class system. The government will be able to inculcate and to provide the funds for IT infrastructure, recruit the teachers. Online education is a low-cost alternative to traditional educations. These are basically the threats of the traditional offline classes. It will make teachers more accountable and more engagement of the students and teachers. So recommend to be cope with the technological aspect for developing and sharing e-content material in the form of audio, video, PDF in their own language. Teachers should share their own video material which are to be developed considering the background of the students, considering a particular class topic, subtopic at its own style. Teachers to be coped with the online classes through standard apps or software like Zoom, Google Meet, Teams, Skype. Syllabus to be framed to cover 60% in offline and 40% in online mode or 70-30. Online evaluation, automatic gradation to be part of. Teaching is much more than good content delivery, but e-content, I think flipped class may be the 21st century classroom. So with this, I once again point out the concept of flipped class, and there is a huge challenges of in the part of implementation of new education policy, particularly from the point of view of government sector education system. With the introduction of new education policy, I think the private partners, foreign university are going first because they are started with the advanced technology, innovative technology, and their infrastructure, their investment is much more than the government sectors. So that is my concern. So whether government institution will exist, will competition make competition with the private partners. I do not know. Still, I have students who faith on the government sector. If government teachers, government policy, government regulations may enforce, I think the government sector will face the challenge and make the game changer in the new education policy. Thank you.
আনমিউট করুন ডক্টর ধর আপনি আনমিউট করুন
Thank you. Sorry. Thank you, Dr. Manashuma Buindo, for this beautiful presentation. And you gave us some new thoughts which will help us for creating the education scenario in our country as well as in the globe. Before we move to the next presentation, let me tell in front of you the two people those who are working all the way from UNESCO to keep our YouTube link active. Dr. Shamabika Rai, resource person from the Eastern Region Language Center, Bhubaneswar, and Dr. Sanjeevan Mundol, resource person, Eastern Region Language Center, Bhubaneswar. So both of our club members, from both of our clubs, we are very grateful to you. Next is in today's time, which is a very important scenario, that is the financial literacy. Because we get fraud in digital banking or any other places. Even the president of the BOLPUR club, BOLPUR SANTINIKETAN club, had mentioned in his message. It is none other, Dr. Rotary Kanaya Sharda is the immediate past president of Rotary Club of Hailakandi and also presently the CSR chair. He is presently serving as the independent director of Steel Authority of India, which is known as Steel about and NJ from Calcutta University. He is a well-known person in to deliver his presentation. Rotary Kanaya Sharda.
Thank you, Santipandra. Namaskar and good evening all. In today's webinar, I have been told to speak about financial literacy. Though it is a huge subject, still I shall try to emphasize on managing, protecting and growing your hard-earned capital and assets within the stipulated time given to me, so that it can help you to make better decisions resulting in improvement of your overall financial well-being. See, it is much more difficult to manage and preserve wealth than to earn. Everybody knows. It is well preserved and managed. The question of preserving and managing of wealth comes to cope up with our future needs. Future needs, we know, are of two types. Number one, these are unexpected and or unforeseen needs. For example, accident of any sort, physical illness, unfortunate, untimely death. This comes under unexpected and unforeseen future needs. And number two, future needs that are expected or foreseen. This may be education, house construction, marriage, buying of aspirational items like car, iPhone, traveling abroad, and so on. So to cope up with this future needs, we need savings. And here comes financial management. The better we manage, the better is the result, and the quicker we shall grow. Let us try to understand this by a small example. Say your annual income is 25 lakhs net of taxes. That means after taxes you are getting 25 lakhs. And after meeting all the running expenses, which may be somewhere around 9-10 lakhs. So you are having 15 lakhs in your hand per annum. Now the question is how to invest and how to use this 15 lakhs. Now come to scenario 1, which I said regarding unexpected or unforeseen. So we need to be very sure to cope up with this unforeseen and unexpected needs. And it is advisable to have an insurance coverage of your 5 years income. That should be minimum coverage. And regarding health insurance, you should be insured for a sum assured of 1 year of your income. So if, as per my example, if 25 lakh is your annual income, then your insurance should be at least 1.25 crores. And a health insurance policy should be of minimum 25 lakhs. So out of 15 lakh which you had got in your hand to invest, 2 lakh will be spent for this insurance charges. So now you are left with 30 lakhs. Now come to type 2, because unexpected airport. Now expected and or foreseen future needs. So out of 10 lakh, you keep 2 lakh either cash in hand or in your savings bank account for any contingencies. Invest number 2, invest 3 lakh in land or pay as EMI of your flat. Number 3, invest 1 lakh in gold. Number 4, invest 2 lakh out of this in FDs, so that you can FDs or bonds, so that you can get assured returns. And point number 5, you have already invested 8 lakhs out. Now the point number 5, you are left with 5 lakhs. So I would like to advise you to invest this 5 lakh in stock market. Yes, share market. Yeah, if you don't have any robust knowledge of stock market, you may go through mutual fund, portfolio management services, or ETFs. And if you have got good knowledge regarding this, then stock market is the best option. You might be thinking that I am advising to invest 20 to 25% of your annual income to stock market. It is because our country is in tremendous growth phase now. Since last few years, our GST collection has grown like anything. Every month, GST collection is more than 1.5 lakh crore rupees, which is indicator of this booming economy. And under the leadership of our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, who has tried to put India fifth largest economy year into $5 trillion economy. And in the days to come, it will grow in a very rapid pace. Regarding stock market, it is the indicator of growth of a country. See, in June 2020, the Nifty, the National Stock Exchange 50 Index, it was trading below 10,000. And now in September 2023, it is around 20,000. So the economy in terms as, and if the same pace goes on in next 10 to 12 years, the Nifty is definitely going to touch 1 lakh. Yes, this is called power of compounding, because our economy is on compounding phase. So I would like to advise all to ride the wave of growth, otherwise you will have the feeling of behindness, I think. And at last, I like to say one statutory warning also, that investment in stock contains risk. So do consult your financial advisor before entering in any deal in stock market. Thank you. Happy investing.
Thank you, Dr. Chanda, for the beautiful presentation. Yes, in today's term, we are really worried about investment, where to do, where not to do. I hope your this presentation will help about the to understand about the financial literacy. Next, we have the science and technology literacy, which is one of the important component in the present time. We have a very good speaker on this, who has more than 35 years in experience in literacy, post-literacy, as well as in S&T communication, science education. This none other Dr. T.P. Raghunanan is from Raghunath, is presently the director of Sri Aurobindo Society, heading the Swarnim Puducherry, vertically with initiatives in education, health, rural development, agriculture, water, local area planning, environment education, etc. He was also the former chairman of the National Children's Science Congress program, which is an initiative of the Government of India under the Department of Science and Technology. He is a very good old friend of mine. So, Raghu, now the microphone is yours.
Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. I think given the time, I will not go here and there. I will try to limit it to the core concept of what one means by science and technology literacy. So I think Dr. Rajiv in his initial remarks mentioned about the OECD PISA framework, which actually says that the ability to engage with science related issues and with the ideas of science as a reflective citizen. I think this is the basic definition. And by this, it's a scientifically literate person should be able to engage in reason, discourse about science and technology, which requires like explaining scientific phenomenon, evaluate and define scientific inquiry, interpret data and evidence scientifically. Some of it he has already covered, so I'm not going into the details or definitions of what all this is about. So, I think if we limit science and technology literacy to a basic layperson, okay, anybody who has studied up to class 8, I think that is normally what science communicates. Like me, we always design or we always take the level of an 8th standard child when we try to explain a scientific phenomenon to a layperson. So assuming that because all of us have to some extent at least up to class 8 level, uh, and anybody in a modern world having some basic school education, I think that will be a good point to start with. Again, as a person who has been engaged in the literacy mission phase, which was from 1989 onwards, starting from the Kerala state and Union Territory of Puducherry, of which I was also an integral part of the program, we had already thought about the limitations of basic literacy, like reading, writing, and arithmetic. And we had designed a post literacy program as part of the original literacy mission in Puducherry. So where we had, I mean, those days it was the ability to go to a bank, go to a police station. So you should know what is the basic things. Go to a post office, telegraph office. I mean, we are talking about almost 35 years back. But this is what common people were not able to do. So apart from even reading a bus name board could be the basic arts, but going to the next level. So issues related to legal literacy, like if somebody is, especially imagine a rural area where the police comes and picks up a person. So legal literacy will deal with all that. What is his basic rights? Whether when women are arrested, what should be the basic conditions and all that. So all these aspects were part of the post-literacy program at that point of time. We even had a People's Parliament session where government officers were invited to take part in the literacy assembly, and they are being asked questions related to education, to public works, on solid waste management. So all this was done 35 years back, and today we see that people are equally ignorant of all these issues because I think at one point of time it became a bureaucratized, routinized program where all the seriousness got away. Because earlier it used to be a people's driven program which got bureaucratized into a state driven program where you have adult literacy departments where people were paid for those jobs, and the whole voluntary spirit was lost. Now, coming to the new education policy, I am not going into the merits and demerits of NEP. I am going to touch only the surface of this whole topic because NEP has got huge challenges. I think already my earlier speakers have talked about enrollment rates and other things. But what is happening now is totally against what NEP is being thought about. So, if you look at the quality of education, what we increasingly see is that teachers are hired on contract basis. Existing teachers posts are not filled up. Imagine that if NAP, if the government was serious enough to implement NEP, you will have to wait for a new generation of teachers because the existing teachers are all product of your old education process where they are not equipped per se. First, at first, primarily, the current teaching, I'm not finding fault with them because I have also been a teacher and I've been engaged with teaching in schools all my 30, 35 years of my career. So they are totally ill-equipped to manage today's demands, a modern world's demands. And that is immediately visible. Like if you look at the Acer survey, we see that though we have very good literacy, their ability to actually read a class 5 lesson by a class 8 child is very poor. So something is really wrong about the pedagogy. It's not about content. I think content has always been, every curriculum has tried to add more and more content into the textbooks and being stuffing children with whatever. I think so. It's the whole process is flawed. So I think NEP will also follow the same path unless we look at these issues from a very serious point of view. So there used to be an initiative under DST, which was the project-based learning, like the Children's Science Congress, where we were more looking at process of doing science rather than product-based science. I think everybody will understand, especially teachers, that like now it's a fashion for every private schools to go for robotics. For it's a fashion to go for exhibitions of model projects. So where there is a market-driven process where children can buy ready-made projects, fabricated, well fabricated projects. There are agencies will give you beautiful bound color printouts like project reports, which is completely different from a process of doing science. That is why I think as far as scientific literacy is concerned, we should be looking at more of the method of science, how science is done, how science is understood, and why we should have the habit of asking questions. So I think the whole observation, the whole method of science, which involves asking questions, being curious about what is happening, and also searching and researching as to the issues which are around us, rather than studying some exotic flower in textbook which is not in that agroecological region. So I think one has to give more focus to the process of learning science, which is also more like how to learn, rather than telling children to do this, because we are going through a huge lot of entrance exams, things, whether it is the NEET or the IITG, which are all market-driven processes where children can crack any exam you tell them, still they can end up not knowing anything. So I think it's the same difference between having education and being educated. So maybe I think like we have eminent speakers like Jayanta Sharma here, because our rural population are much more educated in terms of their livelihoods, in terms of their surroundings. So this has a whole lot to do with SNT literacy as well. So this is one point which I want to point again. In science, there is one has to like, so when you look at the method of science, you should be able to differentiate between what is science and what is pseudoscience. I think last 2-3 days back I was reading about a circular which has gone from Government of India to all the agencies, that the Indian Science Congress, the key, I think more than over 100 years of Indian Science Congress thing, how it has deteriorated over the years, and how pseudoscience is being celebrated wantonly and deliberately in the name of science. So I think we need to, because common people may not be able to identify what is science and what is not science. So, and again, when pseudoscience takes up high-tech things, now you have WhatsApp, you have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, but I think Twitter has changed its name, but whatever it is, fake messages and fake reports often come in the name of ISRO or NASA. No, things like certain. I think I don't have to go into the details of all these things, but I think we need to seriously look at bringing science back into the basics of method of science approach, so that every common man, whether he has a degree or an undergraduate or a postgraduate, or even a class 6 or class 7s up to studied rural population, these things are very important. I think Dr. Rajiv made a very interesting thing about the health, even being a medical student, why that student had to die. You can see the current trend also even among highly educated, like IT professionals, or look at PhDs and other young population who are there, who are totally misguided on YouTube videos and fake information and of bodybuilding and of how to do a dieting, and it has become a fashion. It has become a business of altogether. So my only worry is that education, as well as whatever literacy we are talking about, post literacy or beyond literacy, which involves SMT literacy, where it should go and how it should be shaped. I think it is a huge challenge for all of us All the eminent speakers here, they have all expressed it beautifully here. It's a huge challenge, so whether it is modern diseases or how the medical fraternity, I'm not pointing fingers at anything, how the commercial medical fraternity is exploiting people who are not science and technology literate. So I'm not using the word illiterate because I think way back 35 years we were against using the word illiterate. So I think better word will be a non-literate population, as I would like to point out. So being exploited in the name of science and technology, which could be detrimental to our entire existence itself. So I think the whole concept of sustainable future for everybody. We talk about the SDGs, this thing, but are all the vulnerable populations taken into account? So when we talk about digital literacy or say education, I think my earlier speaker also mentioned about online education as well as thing. What is a common child in a rural area? Will they get the same opportunities as well? Because when we shift to online education or digital smart boards and other things, whether will they have the ability to buy those gadgets? Because you need online, you need connection, you need equipment to access the online education, and also you need good teachers to provide content in the local language of that particular child. While we have very good material as in English or Hindi or maybe even few languages, when will be the time to get all the same material of the same quality from teachers of those vernacular languages across to the even the last child who has the least connectivity in India? Because India is a huge country and we have a lot of challenges as well. So to translate, so it's very easy to say that all of us should have SNT literacy, but in reality, this takes a what do you call backseat as far as this whole thing is concerned. So I think I'm nearing my 15 minutes time limit. If there are any specific questions, I can definitely take up those questions. But otherwise, I would like to say that a fear should actually lead to SNT awareness, where people could escape from superstitions and also being made positively aware of the dangers and being mistaken for fake information, which I've mentioned a little bit, and not getting cheated on pseudoscience, being scammed. I think the financial literacy part, which my earlier speaker, I think a lot of scams happen even in Kerala, which is one of the highest literate states. So are they literate, or I think the biggest deposit scams and other things, they happen always in Kerala. People who commit suicide, who get addicted to lottery and these things, who put at the hard-earned money. So now I think most of the scamsters also work out of India. That's a very interesting thing which you saw, which we see again, whether the call centers operating from Gujarat or West Bengal or Tamil Nadu or UP or Bihar. These are quite common these days, and how do we prepare our people against these things? Like there are also areas like agri-literacy, water literacy, which programs we try to do it in Puducherry, because the whole of agriculture, I think at a time when one of our doyens of green revolution, whatever he did was good or bad, the ill effects of the green revolution is still not fully understood by most of us. The kind of poisons we eat every day, the kind of non-communicable diseases we get. Have you ever asked why are we getting all these high cancer expresses being run from Punjab and other areas? Have you ever asked why is it happening to us? So I think literacy, agri-literacy, we introduce it in schools where children actually start respecting people who produce food for us. Or water literacy, whole using water as an entry into teaching science and technology and ecology and being, justice. All these aspects you can teach with the basic elements of land, water, agriculture, air, soil. All this is possible. I'm not touching these topics, but I think there's a separate topic called ecological literacy as well as it's there. So, Sandeepan, thank you for calling me. I think I've overshot my time. Only thing, the misuse of SNT, where if one is not aware and careful, even life-threatening issues could crop up. So, uh, there are people being screened without their knowledge for their kidneys and liver, and I mean, these are all realities I'm talking about. Look at how many children disappear, how many girls and boys disappear every year from your district. Look at these data. These are very interesting data one should look at. They are being hijacked for organ harvesting. So there is a lot of frightening things out there, and unless we are aware of it, we may also at one day these things could affect us also. So again, I'm not trying to frighten the listeners, but I think we should be aware that such serious issues do exist even among the so-called literate, educated, highly educated community. So I think SNT literacy or SNT non-literacy is not limited to people who are not educated. It also exists among the educated, among most of us again. So thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Sorry if I had overshot for by a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Raghunath TP, for your beautiful presentation. Yes, in the present time, the SNT literacy is very, very required. As you mentioned about the organ trafficking and others, this is a major problem throughout the country which we are facing in the day-to-day life. Next, we'll be moving to the ecological literacy. The speaker is a well-known person. Actually, basically, when I was deciding for the speakers in this webinar, I was in a confusion where to put him for SNT with Raghu and Dr. Jaydeep Borua, whether to put it SNT or ecological. Dr. Jaydeep Borua is presently the head director of Assam Science, Technology and Environment Council. He is associated with Assam Science, Technology and Environment Council since 1995. He was the head of Environment Division for long. He was also the General Secretary of Assam Science Society, the Central Committee of the Assam Science Society for 2 years. And he is associated with science communication, science popularization for several years. Even coordinator of National Children's Science Congress as well as the National Coordinator of National Children's Science Congress. He was also the key person for the appreciating physics in everyday life. So now it is the time for Dr. Jaydeep Borua to deliver his talk. Jaydeep.
Thank you, Sandeep. Thank you, Rotary Club Hailakandi, for giving me an opportunity to be in this platform. And I've hugely benefited by listening to all the learned speakers with different topics connected to literacy. I think today's webinar is really very important, though our participation is around 35 to 40. But the message should to your channel also, to large section of the people, because we have been, Raghunath and Dhananjay Sharma, we are very close friends, and we have been working in this type of activities for last around 30 years, 25 to 30 years together. And we have seen that in spite of a lot of efforts put by from the government level, NGOs, networks, in science and technology and environmental literacy, it is not actually we are not reaching out to the people's heart as per the expected line. And who has rightly mentioned about various examples, how it is not touching the people whom we should touch, and we are not getting the result. And because of that, all these kind of superstitious beliefs, witchcraft, all these things are going on regularly. In spite of we have done so many activities like Bharat Jan Vigyan Jatra and Bharat Jan Vigyan Jatra, Year of Scientific Awareness, all these things are happening. And similar things are also applicable to the ecological literacy also. We have a very large community of activists in environmental sectors in the entire country. In Assam also, so many organizations are working together. But the literacy in sense is that Dr. Ajit Bhaji also say that reading and writing and also it has the another aspect that is the uh, competency and knowledge in a specified subject. So there is the higher level of the other level of literacy for which we are here today. In the environmental literacy or ecological literacy is also is an effort to increase that kind of develop that kind of knowledge and power among the communities, among different sections of people, so that they can understand and they can practice all these conservation measures, their behavior towards environment, ecology, and these are the primary purpose of all this kind of environmental ecology. So it is all about understanding of ecological principles and also ability to apply this knowledge to real life environmental issues. The another aspect that I want to say regarding ecological literacy, it involves deep comprehension of the interrelationship between living organisms, their environments, and the various ecological processes that sustain life on the earth. And thirdly, eco-literacy goes beyond the basic knowledge about it that I already said, about the natural world, and extends to an awareness of complex and dynamic interaction with ecosystem. You see, now we are talking about the sustainable development. And this sustainable development practice, actually, if you see the 1,000 years of our civilization in India, we people actually we have been very, I say, careful about our environment. We know how to live with harmony with nature, how to earn our livelihood also in a sustainable manner. I think the Indian tradition and culture, we have that kind of competency. But now, in recent years, actually, this type of development we are seeing, and we are somehow that link has been missed, and therefore we are facing a lot of hurdles. All these hurdles are because of that only. Now, if we see the equality, if we do, I think now we should have a serious thinking about the way we actually now we are imparting ecological literacy or environmental education in schools. Now, on principle now NEP 2020 we are discussing. At the present, we are following in the formal mode of environmental education is a type of infusion model, where all those environmental aspects are now infused in different subjects, different topics, and it is becoming a part of the structured curriculum. And now, ultimately, the main of the purpose of this now becoming like other curriculum subjects, securing good credit scores in the course is becoming part of their life, part of our students' life. That means that behavioral sense, the ethical part, is missing in the entire process of imparting environmental education or ecological literacy, whatever it is. So there is one issue we have to see. There was a time that we also strongly advocated for infusion model. But now I think in the event of this NEP 2020, we should also see how this habitual sense, ethical part can be imparted through this kind of infusion model. Or we should have some kind of non-formal way of imparting this knowledge, participatory knowledge, because now that Professor Mongal has said about the trip education, that is all about the practical knowledge, doing by learning by doing, all these things are there. So how can we do that? The scope of time-bound curriculum. This is a very serious issue now we have to see, because if you see the eco-literacy, we have several components. Some of the important components where we should think. Understanding the ecosystem. Understanding ecosystem itself is a very complex way of doing it. Now, if we cannot take the children out of their classroom, make them part of the nature, this cannot be actually achieved. Number two, biodiversity awareness. The human impact. So now we are talking about all this lifestyle for environment. Now lifestyle for environment, we are going the merits and demerits, but this is a very important area. Our government of India has launched this program. This human impact on environment is very important. And if we can implement this lifestyle for environment programs in a true sense from our heart, I think we can achieve a lot because it's all about behaviors change of the people. There is one aspect that impact them resilience and adaptation. Now, starting from the Paris Agreement to now all these green tribunal act in India, we have traveled a lot. But now resilience and adaptation in the development of climate change, that kind of literacy, I think now we have to think about how we have to go to the people, meet the people. Now I think the rural community is going to be affected largely because of the climate change. We have in Assam also, we've already seen lot of weather extremities and it's outfall also. Therefore, the ecological literacy also now encompass this resilience and adaptation, not only in terms of climate change, disaster, in all aspects. Then sustainability knowledge, I've already informed ethical consideration, community engagement, promotion of environmental stewardship. All these actually components can be imparted if we only give us some relook at the way we are now implementing the environmental education in schools. This is a very important issue, schools and colleges. So this is one of the areas I want to draw attention to all the panelists. So I am not a very expert in educational aspect. For last several years, we are trying to do lot of environmental education programs. See, in schools we have eco clubs, a non-formal way of imparting education. Wherever we have seen that schools are very active, you will see a group of students coming out very strongly with their feel for the environment. These are some of the programs. Jayanta Sama know, he is also involved in that. Now we are starting some climate resilient village programs. So now we have just initiated some kind of program where we can work with the people for a sustained period of time. Not only just going there and having some kind of awareness for a day or two. It is not like that. A group of youth will be staying there for 3 to 4 months, working in the villages, so that we can touch the people, heart of the people. We can do at least some minimum work to change their behavior. They can think ethically about the environment. This type of conflict will be there. So there's so many efforts from the government. I have already said so many efforts from the government side, NGOs. In Assam, the NGO network is also very strong. But now still I feel that we are not being able to achieve the target we have fixed, achieve the expectations we have fixed. Because I think now we have to relook the way we are delivering this environmental education or to develop the ecological literacy. But if we cannot achieve that very soon, I think we are in a lot of problem because we have already seen the environmental degradation, climate change issues, all this. Now we are talking about single-use plastic, use of single-use plastic. Lot of talk has been done. There are rules and acts, but still, till now, we are not being able to achieve anything in this regard. So with that, I am stopping. I am just trying to draw attention to the learned audience here, learned panelists also. I think in every aspect we can have a separate brainstorming so that we can contribute something for the NDP 2020 implementation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Jaydeep Barua, Jaydeep, for your beautiful presentation about the ecological literacy. Yes, we need to thank for it as the time is trickling out. And as you mentioned, we need to have a separate brainstormings also for all these programs. Hope in the coming days, as our district governor, Rotary and Village K. Agarwal, is very much interested. So we'll discuss from the Rotary Club if we can arrange such kind of programs also. Even in the end of this program, our district literacy chair will speak on it. Next is the heritage literacy. Before we go for this present, who helped me in designing this entire program, right from starting from the preparation of the concept note and selecting the speakers. It is none other but my elder brother I always call, from whom I learned always. It is Jayanta Sharma, Jayanta Sharma. He is the Senior Program Associate of Natural Resources Management. Heard a well-known organization, social organization of this region of Assam, not only of Assam, but of the entire Northeast. It is located at Guwahati. Professor Chandra Sharma was also the chairman of the National Academy of National Children's Sciences Foundation. Basically, he started as a teacher in the Nagaur Girls Women's College, but later he left that job and started as an independent researcher. He did, as Dr. Rajiv Handikar also mentioned, he had visited different villages of our country, not only of Northeast, but of the entire country. So, without wasting much of our time, now I will request Jayanta Sharma to deliver this talk on the heritage literacy. Jayanta, the mic is yours.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Hello.
Yes, you are audible. Jayanta.
Thank you. Thank you. So, at the outset, I am very grateful to Hailakandi and BOLPUR Rotary Club for giving me the opportunities to share my thought. Basically, I am a learner. I'm not an expert. Still, I try to relearn and relearn from the communities of different regions. So, heritage literacy is a approach basically to create awareness, understanding about the natural and cultural heritage we have with us in different regions. So, which is actually a gift of our ancestor, and it is a continuation of the value systems which was developed years back by our ancestor when they to settle in a particular by developing a cultural landscape over a nature landscape. And that's why when we talk about the heritage, both the perspectives of the natural heritage and cultural heritage evolve together. I'm very happy that already the Professor Griban discussions, even Professor Handy, Raghu, and Jaydeep Bora's discussions highlighted what are the need of the contemporary world. As Rotary's beliefs on the literacy for sustainable and peaceful society also. In such context, how the heritage literacy can help us to achieve certain dream of the peaceful society and sustainability in our uh, different conditions of living. Basically, if we look into the natural heritage, there are different definitions, of course. But the first thing, very important, is the natural heritage practices basically linked to how we adopt with the nature. And this adaptation of nature basically lead to us understanding about the ecosystems where we are living. And therefore, this concept actually evolved long back in cultural anthropology. Way back in 1927, there was a concept called lifescape. If we go through the philosophical context of different indigenous people of our India, even in a part of the Bangladesh and Myanmar, Bhutan, all these neighborhood countries of India, we will find that that concept is very much vivid, which is called as lifescape. The core of the lifescape concept is that basically everything has a life. We have to respect it and give a right to every living and non-living element what we have in our surrounding. This is the perspective, and that perspectives are basically not catered when we followed by the colonial perspective of education and literacy, because in the European context or in the Western philosophy, the whole perspective of nature is something different, which is considered as a resource and resource to extract and utilize. But it is, but the Indian philosophy or the Eastern philosophy basically plead for the how to coexist with the nature, and because of that, the different natural heritage are developing. It is in different form, like the sacred plant, animal, even different biodiversity sites, and therefore Assam is proud of. We have two important natural heritage site of the world in our state, Kaziranga National Park. Even we have the largest reserve of the world. It is not happen because of so that people sacrifice a lot to conserve these natural assets. And similarly, there are very interesting things. Actually, 2 years back, one student from the Bodolpur, who was she was a student of the Assam University, walked with me about the tree worshipping and biodiversity conservation. She basically walk in the Badurpur greater area, identify there are 12 different trees. Basically, people worship from the three different faith system: Hinduism, Islamism, and the Buddhism. And ultimately, she identify one plant which is Rupsi in Bangla, which is very common and worshipped by all the faith followers. And interestingly, she consider the association of bird as a biodiversity indicator, and she identify there are 29 different birds associated with the Rupsi plant, and out of that 13 birds are annual. Means the in all the season these 13 birds are always there associated with the Rupsi plant. So now, if we look from the perspective of the biodiversity, how a spiritual perspective, actually that is nothing but a value system for nature, how it is linked to biodiversity conservations. So similarly, there are lots of other uh, practices like totemic belief by the different tribal communities of entire Southeast Asia, which is associated with the different plant and animal. We have a project where we try to understand the landscape and ecological connectivity as well as cultural connectivity uh, among Assam, Meghalaya, Nagaland, and Myanmar. And very interestingly, we found the two important things. One is one species that is hollow gibbon, very much common in all these places, all these areas, and every local language there are folk stories on the hollow gibbon. The story narratives are different, but the core is that consider hollow gibbon is nothing but they are like us, like human being. This is the value. So we have to give respect to them, and we have to take protections for them. So if we look into that, deciding people's perceptions, they evolve with associations of nature, as a result of which such kind of beliefs or perceptions evolve, and which is expressed orally through maybe in certain cases folk stories, certain cases folk song. And if we look, many folk songs of the old Gwalpara district of Assam, which and same kind of folk songs are there in different parts of Bangladesh. And because there is a river network, river connected, and there are many folk songs which is related to the river, where the river is considered as a metaphor, and river is also considered as a continuity, and it's a symbol to philosophize the way of life. And these systems are therefore very much important. And similarly, there are any cultural perspectives, probably many of us in the present day context, we are thinking about different fashions, and ethnic designs in textiles are becoming very popular. But without understanding the intricacies or the inner value systems of this ethnic design, we are adopting to the ethnic different fashion product. But every ethnic community, when they design a particular motif, it carries certain value systems. It's a symbol, carries some identity. But many a time it is followed. For example, like the tribes of Dibasa, their textile design, one important thing is you will find certain line. They call it kansuri. Kansuri is nothing but the art form. And it is a respect and it's a reflection of how the art form is connected with the agricultural systems and how it is linked to fertility of the soil and how it links to the productivity. And similarly, in all the tribes, similar kind of concepts are there. And this motif or design of the textile is nothing but it's a type of classifications. And interestingly, in the cultural aspects, another important thing is the language. Because language or different kind of dialogue we have in different regions, it's a repository of our traditional and cultural knowledge systems. And interestingly, if you look into the different name of plant and animal in our local languages, this is nothing but the vernacular taxonomy. Because every name represents certain behavior or certain characteristics of the plant and animal, which we follows in the Latin taxonomy. But the same is there in our own language-based taxonomy. But this is neglected because we follow the colonial perspectives of the whole education systems. It is not formally introduced for the taxonomical studies in life sciences. So these are the certain example where still we have to adopt certain aspects. Nowadays, we are talking about different perspective, like the looking into the climate change problem. We are talking about how our architectural design and buildings can be uh, 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 linked to the adaptation or climate smart building. But our vernacular architectures is a replication of solar passive architectural model. But we do not have the specific research. There are very limited research to certain communities' vernacular building. But it is required to identify how that can be adopted, because all these buildings use the local raw materials, local perspectives in the design, which are very much important if we are talking about the sustainability aspects. And similarly, when we talk about the pluralisms, respect to the diversity, coexistence, if we look into the whole perspective of the traditional systems of living in our society, our value systems, actually traditional value system always respect for the that sorts of pluralism, how the different communities live together. Not only that, if you go to the documentation of different local seeds farmer use, you will find they all in their local name they also added a name which represents where from they collected. There are many names among the Kirby tribe, even among the Rians of the other parts of areas, or even among the Dipasas. With the name, there is an extension they call Lusai. Lusai means the basically holistically it's a people from the Mizoram and the Mijo people. Means those species they collected from the Mijos in the historic bag, and that is the elderly person's interpretations. So these are the very ethical perspective where we are talking about the biopiracy. So holistically, these are the example how the others intellectual right, property right is recognized by the other communities, and it's a holistic living, and basically heritage value systems can prepare us how to live in a pluralistic society peacefully and how to design a sustainable living system. From that perspective, actually every agroecological context there are lots of living example. We have to incorporate this for the creating awareness, skills, and understanding about these. And it may be required to incorporate in the educational process also. I think there are lots of examples. Long back, IGNO have done experimentations in the Garo Hills only to through making the Garo traditional musical drum, and they involve a student from the Meghalaya belong to different discipline. In that particular experiments, students from physics also participated, art and culture, anthropology participated together. Their experiment was how to make a traditional drum and how that can be used as a musical instrument. In the process, they try to learn what are the science involving it, and at the same time what are the cultural value and why that drum is important, whether it is only for that, but there are different ethical purpose, like when you beating the drum, first you have to communicate with nature through the particular rhythms of the drum, then you can come for the our daily life. So all these are the different aspects where actually value systems can be improved, the humanitarian perspectives can be improved, and that's why the heritage education is very much important. Heritage literacy, particularly for all sections of people, so that everybody understand their local context, their locality, their own community, so that accordingly they think for a pluralistic, sustainable, peaceful society, and they can also think for the self-reliance. So with this few words, I conclude my presentations. Of course, I will love to take if any queries or questions arise. Thank you.
Thank you, Jayanta Sharma, for your beautiful presentation and for trickling our minds about the heritage literacy. Because it's a really fact that the Northeast is very much privileged to have a rich heritage literacy, but we are unable to detect those. Thank you once again from my side. Now, just before we go to the next presentation, that is the gender literacy, a link has been posted in the chat box. Please, all the participants are requested, other than the speakers, please do fill up that form so that we can send your e-certificate on time. Next is, as I said, the gender literacy. The speaker is none other Dr. Rita Modok, Rotary Dr. Rita Modok. She is the secretary of the Rotary Club BOLPUR SANTINIKETAN. Dr. Rita Modok is presently an associate professor in the Department of Bengali, Vishwabharati, in India. She served as an assistant teacher in Ramganj High School, HS, Uttar Dinajpur, for 3 years, and also served as a lecturer in the Netaji Nagar Day College, Kolkata, for 10 years. His other apart from the literature, Bengali literature, she is very keen in gender equity and others. So now the microphone is up to you. Dr. Rita.
Thank you, Dr. Sandip Bandhar. Respected presidents of Rotary Club of Hailakandi and our own club, Rotary Club of BOLPUR SANTINIKETAN, Chairman, Basic Educational Literacy, members, dignitaries, and all. I am really grateful to the organization for giving me this opportunity. A few days ago, in our office, our peon was then serving tea to my male colleagues. I just arrived there, and my one colleague offered me his tea with saying, "Ladies first." People in public space have been using such mannerism to show that they are gender sensitive. Social media is flooded with feminist videos and lectures, especially on Women's Day, Mother's Day, Daughter's Day, without much influence on a society that is deeply patriarchal. At the same time, social media is overflooded with some stories and videos which against the women. Reasons are same: ignorance of gender literacy. India has an overall literacy rate of 77%, with literacy rates of 84.40 for men and 71.50 for women, based on the most recent census data, that is January 2023. The ability to read and write is the cornerstone of literacy, while the acquisition of skills, knowledge, values, and so on is the essence of education. So now I'm going to say some words on gender literacy. Gender literacy is not a new mere concept, but something which needs expression politically and socially. Gender literacy is the ability to critically examine gender socialization and understand the effect of rigid gender roles and relationship with gender inequality, discrimination, oppression, and violence. It is all about developing the awareness and skill set to critically think about gender narratives. Gender literacy is an important part of building resilience because being able to validate one's own identity amongst negative gender narratives can help support the development of a positive self-image and healthy and effective coping strategies. It is also about helping people to see that sex assigned birth does not define one's gender identity, gender expression, or one's sexual orientation. Gender literate means that one can take subjective experience to each of these pieces and put them together in a way that works for one's own integrated self. Literacy is a social fact. It would mean the act of learning how to read and write in its basic form. But gender literacy would be the act of learning the basics of gender equality. Right now, we have to understand what is the difference between basic literacy and gender literacy. The basic literacy is literacy without content, and gender literacy is with content. Literacy, put simply, is the ability to use knowledge must be gained before it can be used. We need to learn particular skills, attitudes, and behaviors to direct this use. If someone who are gender literate, we would expect from him or her to have knowledge about gender socialization. Normally, we are treated differently based on the gender we are assigned at birth. Just like this. For boys, we are always say, "Don't cry like girls, shame, be strong, no tears, boy." On the other hand, we used to say for girls, "Be submissive, and try to adopt yourself, understand you're a girl. These differences then promote gender inequalities and discriminations. Gender literacy works from the belief that positive change can and will happen by the broader community becoming more gender literate. When individuals are encouraged and supported to use this gender literacy is a way that is relevant, accessible, meaningful, and change making, we can erase rigid gender roles and inequalities. Gender literacy and gender education also helps in empowering girls and boys and promoting the development of life skills like self-management, communication, negotiation, and critical thinking that young people need to succeed. They build prosperity for entire countries. Without proper gender education, we cannot stop child marriage, teenage pregnancy, child domestic work, poor education and health, sexual abuse, exploitation, and violence. Perhaps we are all aware of the popular saying that half of the world is occupied by women. That means half of the facilities are supposed to be enjoyed by women, but it's not true. We know very well that our patriarchal society always rule on women and society. We all are eagerly waiting for Durga Puja. খুব বেশি দেরি নেই আর তার জন্য. We pray to her with devotion for our welfare. But the irony of the situation is, on one hand, we surrender to the divine Durga to protect us, and on the other hand, we look down upon the feminine principle with condemnation, contempt, cause of all failures, source of lust and miseries. Only gender education can change this societal mentality. On one hand, men will realize that they are not only the ruler of the society or family, they feel value and need of women. They will start to show their respect to women. On the other hand, women will get confidence and realize their important roles in society or family, such as bold householders, strong mother, administrator, elected representatives and leaders, and many more other roles. Therefore, we are truly experience the Shakti of this female creative force. Gender education is a stepping stone towards gender equality, quality socialization, and economic growth. Quality education can help men and women the deep-seated issues of our society raise their individual and collective levels of awareness and understand the importance of all people, irrespective of sex, in building a healthy and conscious society. In order to ensure sustainable development, it has become imperative to recognize the importance of all the sexes. Gender equality is the belief that men and women should be treated and perceived as equals in the society, including all areas such as education, employment, and in decision-making position in every platform. It is a fundamental human right and a necessary foundation for a peaceful, prosperous, and sustainable world. Especially, gender equality in education benefits every child. It creates a safe environment for children of all genders to have access to quality education. Schools that challenge gender stereotypes and promote gender equality help to build peaceful relationships between students. They are our future. and they are our hope. So let us create hope in the world with proper gender literacy. Thank you. Unmute, please. Unmute yourself,
Dr.
Dr.
Modak, for
Modak.
your beautiful, yeah, for your beautiful presentation. So before we go for the question answer session, we'll request the president of the Rotary Club of Hailakandi, Rotarian Bijani Bhattacharya, to say a few words.
Good evening, everyone. This is Bijoyini Bhattacharya from Rotary Club of Hailakandi. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone present here today, especially the speakers, uh, Dr. Soeb Girvan, Dr. Rajiv Hendik, Dr. Manas Kumar Boddho, Dr. T.R. Raghumenon, Dr. Joydeep Borua, Rotarian Kanhaiya Sharda of my very own club, Rotarian Dr. Rita Modak, my very beloved Didi, the Secretary of RC BOLPUR Shantiniketan, to be with us for this wonderful sessions. Uh, every time, we always have some very typical literacy topics on which we go for webinars and all. But this time, the host of this evening, Rotary Shantipan Dhar, has come up with some very innovative ideas, the topics which have been decided and on which our very knowledgeable speakers have spoken. This has enlightened us a lot from RC Hailakandi, being the president. I am indebted to each and every speaker from the core of my heart. This evening has been a very lightened one. It has enlightened us. It has made our intellect more rich. We have learned many things from them. So I thank each and everyone from the core of my heart. And I beg your pardon, I was not available throughout the sessions as my son has got his exams. So I once again thank Rotary Shoghi Pandhar, my very beloved Dada, for organizing this program. I also thank the literacy chair of my club, Rotary Indranil, for his introductory remarks. I am thankful to each one of you who is here with us today for this evening. Thank you so much.
So, before we go to the concluding remarks by our literacy chair, district literacy chair, Rotary and Dr. Siddhartha Dev Mukhopadhyay, if anyone has any question, please do raise your hands. Please do raise your hands. There's an icon in the Google Meet. Otherwise, we'll go for the concluding remarks. And once again, to all the participants,
Yes, Sandeepan, just a minute. Yes, I am extremely sorry. I forgot to mention this very man, the literacy chair of the district. I'm really sorry, sir. Rotarian Dr. Siddhartha Ji Mukhopadhyay is with us today evening. He is from Vishwabharati University, Bolpur, Shantiniketan. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us and for making this evening a really a special one for both of the clubs. Thank
Vijayani,
you.
another person who helped me a lot for designing the concept note as well as for the speakers, Joyanta Sharma.
Okay, Dada. Joyantada, thank you so much. Thank you for making this event a very successful one. This webinar, it was a long planned one, and we always wanted it to be not like the typical ones. And as it has come up, we have seen that it has been a really different one in which we have come up with some new topics like digital literacy, science and technology literacy, ecological literacy, financial literacy, gender literacy. These topics are very not very common. Whenever we go to think about literacy, we don't go out of the box. We always think about school education, college education like this. So this time as these topics have been designed, it was kept in mind that we cover all these sides together. So thanks to everyone for being with us. And special thanks to the district governor also, who has dropped a message for us for this webinar session. And now we move on to this concluding speech and the vote of thanks by the literacy chair of the district.
Thank you. Thank you. So before we move, once again, I will request the participants, if you have any queries, you can put it us, or you can even later on also, you can mail us to Rotary, ROTARY, HKD@gmail.com, so that we can forward that to the respective speakers. Do fill up the form, the feedback form, which is given in the chat box of this Google Meet, as well as in the YouTube channel, so that we can send your e-certificate on time. Thank you. I hope there's no more question. So we will go to the end part of this, and the concluding speech will be given by none other, one of the veteran Rotarians of this district, RID, Rotary International District 32, Dr. Rotarian Dr. Siddhartha Devadre is also from Vishwa Bharat Department of Agricultural Extension. He is a professor over there. He is associated with associated with the Rotary Club for quite a long, and had bagged lots of prizes, awards from this, like National Hero Award of Rotary International for commendable work in Pulse Polio program, Best President Award also, National Resource Person and Co-Chair of Teach Literacy Program of Rotary International District, and Paul Harris Fellow. This is one of the prestigious fellowships in the Rotary International Program. And apart from that, especially to mention to Raghunath, Jayanta Sharma, Dr. Jaydeep Bova, he is also associated as a National Resource Person of NCSC from 2000 to 2009. For quite a long time. So that shows that he is also a person from NCSC. So sir, now the microphone is yours.
Yes.
Sir, you are not audible. Sir, you are not audible, sir. We cannot hear you.
No, we are hearing. We are hearing.
Okay.
Sandeepan, we are not able to listen to what he is saying. Maybe he is muted, I think.
But he is able to listen. That's your voice is not coming.
Sir, you have to unmute. You have to unmute your mic.
Yeah, I'm. You are.